Welcome, one and all, Nyanko here, and today I am back with another Bookworm Wednesday. But this time it's to do with a manga that I am absolutely in love with and that I've just been rereading. Now, if you haven't seen it, there is part 1 on my channel already, talking about the first part of this series. This is the middle part, and it is Card Captor Sakura! So I am a huge Magical Girl fan, as you may or may not be able to tell. And Sakura was actually the very first anime that I ever watched, which then got me into the manga, and I have all of that is currently available in print. So the old Tokyo Pop ones, and I also have the new Clear Card series. Now I am waiting on 11 to turn up, and then I'll be getting 12 when it turns up in October, when it gets released in English. So yeah, we are going to be talking about how wonderful part 2 is, or otherwise known as the Sakura card arc. And first off, we're just going to go off with looking at how pretty the artwork is on the Tokyo Pop volumes. So this is the artwork on volume 1. I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not. I will have to see. But yeah, really, really cute. She's got like almost like a nurse style outfit on there with the Sakura cards. Then in volume 2 she seems to have like an Indian dancer kind of form or outfit. I mean, kudos to Clamp, they have the best like artwork for clothing, and it makes me always want them, but then like you look at the price of buying a costume from like someone who's made it as elaborate as like Clamp's drawings and you're like, oh, maybe not. Then we got number 3. Number 3, again, she's got some kind of very puffy bottom going on. I don't know. Number 3 is not my favourite of the outfits anyway, but it's still cute on Sakura. I mean, Sakura could wear a bin bag and still look cute. So then we've got number 4, which I really like. Again, it's a bit like marching band kind of themed and inspired. It's very pretty, very beautiful. She looks super happy in that picture, doesn't she? Like, so happy. And then we have 5, where she is a black cat. I don't know if you can see this properly. I'm hoping you guys can. I love that outfit. It also looks like there's like some white kind of see-through stuff going on with it as well. Now, I don't think we see any of these costumes in the actual pages, but it's just really nice artwork on the front of it. Now, for my ultimate favourite, which would be number 6. 6 is my favourite one with the dress that she's wearing. It's so beautiful, and it's Sakura inspired like her name, and it's all white and pink and ribbons. I love it. It's so friffy and magical girly, and it's beautiful. It's my favourite of the artworks are there anyway. So yeah, as probably everybody knows, because I think everyone at this point has seen or heard of Card Captor Sakura. It's about a young girl who one day stumbles upon a weird book in her father's library in her basement and unleashes the power that was sealed within, so the cloud cards. She then has to, with the help of Kiraberos, or Kiro for short, capture all the cards and basically restore order, because if they're left to run rampant, they'll destroy everything just because of mischief and stuff, and they've been sealed away for so long. Now, this particular part is called the Sakura card arc because she has to turn all of the cloud cards into Sakura cards because there's a new calamity happening, or there's new like magical issues popping up. So in the beginning, she hasn't even realised that she can't use the cloud cards properly. So what's the best way to describe this? So yeah, basically she's still been using her staff, even though it's turned into like the little key. It's turned from like the little bird head into like a star at the end of the first series of mangas. And now she can still call upon the cloud cards, but they're not nearly as strong as they used to be when she summons them. And she really does start to struggle in her first couple of battles until she realises I mean, even the first time around, it actually is unconscious when she changes the card into a Sakura card. It's just through her sheer determination of wanting to save the people around her. Now, there is a plenty of differences between the manga and the anime. So if what I'm talking about and you're going, oh, that doesn't make sense, this is actually what happened. I am talking about what happened in the manga, not what happened in the show, because there is huge differences between the two. Mainly as well being that there's only like 18 cards in the manga, and there's like 52 in the show. They also leave out a load of things as well. So one of the really nice storylines that I like in the manga is how Sakura starts to learn more about her great-grandfather, and about how his relationship with her mother, and she doesn't like the fact that they fell out because of her mother marrying her father. And the dad gets a bit more screen time in this manga as well. We get more backstory on the Deshko, we get more backstory on Fujitaka, we get more development in all the romances that are going on throughout the story as well. Again, I still have an issue with one of the storylines where it's to do with romance, but I already covered that in the first part, so you can go watch my opinion on that there. But no, I was rereading it the other day, just in preparation for this video, and oh boy, I nearly cried in certain places because the storytelling is just so good. Clamp is just great at doing a compelling, emotional story that like drags you along, and like you sink into it. You don't even realise how like far you've got through the story, because you're just like, oh, and then it's like, damn, where did it fit? Why? No, I need more. But yeah, Sakura in this one is still in love with Yukito, and so is Sharon to a degree, but he's slowly, actually, through this one, he realises he isn't in love with Yukito at all. He's just drawn to his power, and he realises that he's actually in love with Sakura. Now, he realises this pretty early on even, whereas Sakura takes a while. Although she does confess her feelings to not Julian, I'm thinking back to the old anime, to Yukito. He is like, think about it, do you truly love me in that sense, or is it more like how you feel for your father? And she realises, oh, hang on a second, yeah, this is more like a familial love. Even though I get all floaty around him, it's not the same way, that I should feel about a prospective partner. And she comes to the realisation that, as well, through talking to Yukito, that he has someone else that he truly treasures, and that when she finds her true love, he's going to love her back the most as well. And it's really sweet, because then she gets really upset and dejected about it, just as you would after having your first confession shot down. And like, she's crying in the park, and then Sharon comes up and is like, what's up? And she kind of tells him everything, and he's like, oh, well, don't worry, I'm sure your one is out there, and you will find him, and he will find you. Which is really sweet, how he like comforts her, and then even though he's in love with her at this point, he still is very much like Tomoyo in that sense. Like, if I can't be with her, I just want her to be happy. Which again, I really like that about Clamp. Bar one or two like very questionable romances, their handle on a lot of romantic situations in the manga is amazing. So you've got Toya and Yukito's romance. You've got Sharon and Sakura's romance, and how she's a bit blind to it in the beginning because she's emeraded with somebody else. You've got like Tomoyo's one-sided affection. You've got Yamazaki and Chiharu, who have been together a long time, and their relationship. You've got Rika and the teacher, which again, I'm not going to trash on that, but it's not right. But again, they handle it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that you see anyway that's inappropriate, bar the fact that there's a teacher dating a young child. Let's not get into that, Nyanko. Let's not get into it. But yeah, and then you also still see like the familial bonds as well. So Tsunami gets more screen time, who is Tomoyo's mum, and you see her interact more with Fujitaka, who is Sakura's dad. You also get a really cool scene between the great-grandfather and the dad, and like them coming to terms with everything, and getting back onto a good standing in life, because he realizes what he did like cost him his granddaughter, whereas if he'd just accepted it, accepted the relationship, and you know, been there for her. He could have spent her last few years enjoying his great grandchildren and like spending more time with her, and he just seemed to have some regrets over that. And again, all handled really well, and the way Sakura goes about trying to get in contact with him as well is so sweet. And again, they leave that out of the anime, so if you haven't actually read the manga, you're actually missing out on 90% of the amazing content that is Sakura. Now, I know they edited things out and they had to change certain things for TV, and then the English dub especially butchered anything to do with like romance and stuff in it, because there's this huge thing about teddy bears as well in the manga, and I think they I think they cut that out of the anime almost entirely in the English dub anyway, and her creating the love card at the very end, whereas in the manga it's kind of wrapped up very neatly. Sakura starts to realise towards the end of it how she feels for Shaoran, and then she like hears that he's going home, gets dejected, like, because Ariel speaks to her. So Ariel is the big bad of this series. Sorry, I'm kind of went a bit off topic. He is the one in the background pulling all of the magical strings to force Sakura into positions where she can change the cloud cards into Sakura cards. And he's doing this because he is the reincarnation of Clara Reed. But he's not doing it for a bad reason. He's basically doing it because if Sakura doesn't start having the cloud cards draw from her own internal power, they're going to die, basically, and become just inanimate cards, because the lingering magic that Clara Reed left within them has been used, and they need a new power source, basically. So he comes back, because he reincarnated after he died, into two people. You'll get into the second person later. Whereas the first person, Ariel, got all of the powers and all of the memories. The second person just kind of got the physical look, although they both look very similar to Clara Reed. And yeah, so he freezes himself in the body of a child, because he's actually a lot older than that, so that he can be the same age as the new card captor when he needs to be there to help her. So yeah, forces Sakura to change all the cards, then reveals why he did it. They become friends. Well, they were already friends, but then, you know, they patch things back up when Sakura realises everything, and they have their big fight at the end. And then he's like, okay, so I'm going back to England now. And Sakura's like, no, you're my friend, I don't want to lose you. And he's like, remember this feeling, so that when your true one does, when the person you truly care about leaves, notice the difference in how you feel, and you'll know who your true person is, basically. Which then leads into her realising when Lee says he's going home, no, I love him, I don't want him to leave, I can't be without him. So she goes home and she makes him a teddy bear, because during there's this during the arc, there is a tale that if you give the person you have true feelings for a teddy bear named after yourself, then your love will be returned, basically. It's really cute and it's really sweet. And so Sakura goes and makes him a teddy bear, because Lee had actually given her one earlier on in the manga by mistake. And she runs to the bus because she nearly misses him, and she like gives him her Sakura teddy, and they basically start a long distance relationship from there. And then the manga actually ends with the first scene from the Clear Card arc. So they've confessed their feelings. They've been in a long distance relationship for about 2 years at this point, because when he leaves, she's like 11. And then when he comes back, they're 13. And they're in middle school now. And then they take their bears back and they're like, yay, we could be together forever now. And that's a really nice ending for it. So actually, I think I'll show you the last scene. So yeah, this is the last scene in the manga. Don't know if you can see it. I'm hoping you can. It's really sweet. And it's when they basically leave off. So they could have just left it there and there would be like no issue. But then 18 years later, Clear Card came out. But we will talk about that in a separate video, because I'm going to need an entire video just to discuss how amazing that is. But yeah, Clear Card was just... Oh no, sorry, it's a tangent. Anyway, Sakura card arc is amazing in the sense that it wraps up a load of stuff from the first season. We get more to do with, like, we learn more about Yue and Kiraberos, and we learn more as well about everybody in total. So, actually, going back to something major that they leave out of the anime that really upset me when I actually read the manga was the fact of Sakura is born from the second half of Clara Reed's reincarnation. Sorry if this is spoilers. Basically, he separated himself into two, but unfortunately the powers didn't split. And that was also something that Ariel wanted out of Sakura, was he didn't want to be the most powerful magician on the planet anymore, and he wanted his powers split between him and his other half, which is revealed to be Sakura's father, which then also explains how Sakura is so powerful, because technically she is related to Clara Reed through his reincarnation. So Sakura uses her own magic at this point to split Ariel's power in two, which then opens up the fact that Fujitaka can now see Nadeshiko, and they can be together again. I mean, it's probably not healthy that he hasn't moved on from her, but it's suggesting that they were like soulmates in true love, and it was like true, like proper love, and he could never find someone else again, which is really sweet. But I think it's a bit bittersweet, because by the end of the manga, now it does happen in the anime about Toya losing his powers, but Toya goes from being able to see his mum and being able to help Sakura to being powerless. And then the dad goes from being powerless to being able to see the mum and like sense that something's going on with Sakura. But kudos to Fujitaka for being like best dad. You know, he lost his wife, but he still kind of picked up the pieces and does his best to provide for his two kids. And I know Toya also does his best to provide for his little sister and help his dad out. Which is touched on again in, like, it's through all the parts actually. Toya's love for Sakura is always there, even though like he calls her a monster or he's constantly like picking on her, but every action he does is just full of love for Sakura. You know, he's constantly looking out for her. You know, he makes her breakfast, he makes her lunch. If she forgets something, he brings it over. You know, even though like they tease each other, he still genuinely cares for his sister, and I think that's really sweet to see. I mean, it's just funny. And then like there's his romance with Yukito that is very like downplayed in the anime. They almost try and get rid of it entirely from the dub. But in the manga, they admit that so Toya is like, you are my person, and Yukito is like, you are my person, which was actually something that Clary didn't see, because he could see everything that was to come, and he'd predicted that Yukito's favorite, number one would be Sakura, and Sakura's number one would be Yukito/Yue, and that didn't happen in the end because the feelings for Sharon kind of warped that, and Toya also warped it slightly, which it's really interesting to see like that. You know, you can be like the Almighty, have all of this power, and things still don't always go to plan for you, which I thought was quite a funny, like, sweet little twist at the end, to be fair. And Sakura's even more badass in this. I mean, she's 10, 11, dealing with like huge things that feel like they're overwhelming, and you know, she leans on her friends. She's like this badass character, but she's not afraid to ask for help. You know, she even says it to like Tomoyo several times. You know, I couldn't do my best if it wasn't for everybody, you know, having my back. And I think that's a really great message. Like, yeah, you can be tough as nails, you can be the strongest ever, like you can have the most magic power in the universe, but if you don't have the right people backing you up, you can't always succeed, you know? Yeah, being a tough, independent person is grand, but at the same time, if you don't have a good support network, then when you fall, it's going to be very hard to pick yourself back up, you know? Now that support network can just be great friends, it can be your family if you need family, you know, it could even just be calling a helpline if you need help, you know, and that's what I really like about like Cardcaptors in general, is just the way it shows bonds, and it's not necessarily always familial bonds, it's like friendship bonds and like the family bonds you make along the way with people who you decide, yes, this is going to be part of my family. It's great. So good. So yeah, I mean, bar my one issue with Clamp, in terms of Rika and the teacher, I'd have to say I don't really have any gripes that I can pick out of the Sakura card arc. It's compelling, it's contained, there's not that many plot holes, everything is answered eventually. You know, it's sweet, it's wholesome, it's amazing. If you haven't read the manga, go and buy it, like, immediately. Now, you can't always get the Tokyo Pop versions. You can sometimes get them through eBay auctions, but they've also brought out like these special limited edition illustration like bundles and omnibuses, which are amazing. Go check them out. You can get them on Amazon, Book Depository, basically I think anywhere that sells manga, so go look for them, definitely. But yeah, I'd say that's probably all I'm gonna say on Sakura, because I could go all day, but I want to kind of keep this video somewhat contained to within half an hour. But yeah, if you like Sakura, like me, comment down below and tell me your favourite parts of it. Tell me your favourite card, especially. I love to talk about the cards. Yeah, let's leave comments down below. Like the video if you want to see more of my stuff, and just lets me know like what videos you like versus what you don't. And subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing and want to see more from me. It's been lovely to talk to you, my kittens. Much love. I will see you next time. Mata ne!